Hi there, it's Sarah from Standing Up to Scoliosis and the Scolio Temple. And I just felt called to do a video today about having the metal rods taken out of my back. So I'm currently 2 months, just over 2 months post the surgery. And I've already done another couple of videos already with a few little mobilising and exercises, and just to show, you know, that we can do some things when we're early on in the recovery process. Like, it's essential to get, to get the muscles going again and to stop serious adhesions building up in the soft tissue. That it's good to get as much mobility as you can early on, but obviously until you're enough time post surgery, you can't really start doing like lifting weights or doing real big bends and big mobilizations. And so yeah, I'm at the stage where I'm starting to be able to do the bigger things, because I'm like, got past 2 months, and I do still have some swelling, and there is still pain, especially later on in the day. And because it's still a slow recovery process, because the body has to adapt to the rods not being there. The soft tissue has to then gradually change and adapt. And so overall, they're saying it's taking 6 months for a full recovery to really think, yes, I feel good again, healthy, I'm like out doing loads, I'm working full time, I'm doing lots of activity. And I used to like boulder climbing, and I wouldn't be doing that right now. And I haven't even gone back swimming yet. I'm gonna wait probably at least 3 months just for any like swelling or like soreness on the scar to go down, because I don't want to risk infection in the swimming pool. But yeah, this video mostly I wanted to talk about was why I had the rods out and how I feel different now. Because anyone who's on my page might have been a little bit scared by the whole thing, because I did end up having a bit of a horror story. Like, they did have to come out, and it did save my life having them out. So I feel a lot better now. I feel like I'm on the road to recovery. My back has stopped spasming. That's what was happening. I had a tooth infection, it spread, and the whole spine was spasming, and my body was essentially rejecting the rods, trying to squish them out, because there was so much bacteria and illness stuck around the rods. So I just become so unwell. And that had taken years to build up. Years of stagnation and stuck tissue in my body. Like, they were in for 20 years. I had arthritis where the rods are, and minor disc problems above and below. So for me, like, I had all my health checked, everything, my brain, all my organs scanned, like huge loads of different blood tests. I really tried to rule out everything else first. And all my pain and symptoms were always where the fusion and the rods were. They always had been, ever since I've been in pain. And I've been in pain for 14 years. So I did have pain. My surgery was a success to start with, can I just say. For 6 years, I had it when I was 16. For 6 years, it was a success. I even danced. I even did professional dance training. I danced professionally. Like, I was doing a high level of exercise. But that was probably part of the problem. What I've learned now is I had a really bad ankle sprain. I tore a ligament during my dance training. And I kind of woke up in pain probably about just over a year, after I had a keyhole surgery I had to have on that ankle after spraining it. So I have found out that because they're altering the structure of your spine and it has to stay, what you don't want is any disruption to where the rods are being held, because if any other part of the body falls out, like a sprained ankle, it's like the ground falling from underneath it. And I also separated my shoulder as well. I loved gymnastics, and I just decided, even though I had the rods in, I was going to go to adult gymnastics. So I was swinging on the bar, I fell off, and bang, the shoulder separated. So I had a separated shoulder on the left side, a sprained ankle on the right side. This alters the structure of the body, sort of biomechanically. and the whole chain is disrupted and, you know, altered. So so where you because if you've had a spinal fusion, you really need to focus your exercises on holding it in place, like literally stabilizing it and mobilizing. Like, you can do loads of things with the shoulders and hips and all the joints around. You can like strengthen them, pull it, you know, everything, to pull everything in and to hold it where it's fused. So, you know, now I've had the rods taken out, the game has changed completely. Like, before, if you've seen any of my exercise videos, you know, which I did when I was very unwell. So I used to dance professionally. You know, I lost a lot of weight when I became in chronic pain. And I just woke up in chronic pain and it didn't go away. And I tried like so many things. Like I you know, I'm qualified in quite a lot of physical therapies. You know, and I tried, you know, you probably see my pages, I'm into foraging and medicinal medicines and, you know, natural medicines and mushrooms and all sorts of things. So, sorry. So yeah, I literally, you know, had ruled everything out. My body was rejecting the rods. Everything had got so arthritic and stiff over the years, and I was pushed away. Doctors ignored me for 14 years. I was asking for MRI scans. I was saying, you know, could it be the rods? And no one would tell me. Like, I was just left by our health system. You know, I live in the UK. The NHS is a very, very overrun, busy system. You know, they are trying to save money constantly. They can cut back. They don't like to pay out for an MRI scan. Really, I should have just paid for it privately, but I couldn't afford to pay for an MRI scan privately. But somehow, looking back, I should have raised the money and got the MRI scan done earlier. When you're having constant pain around a metal implant, you should get a scan done straight away. I mean, all they did was an x-ray for me, and they said the rods are not broken. You're fine. No, I wasn't fine. I was living in like torture every day, like when I was in no pain before they done the surgery. So yeah, okay, the scoliosis could have caused pain itself, and that could have got worse as I got older. You know, I totally get it. But this was pain on another level, like literally, like the anxiety, the constant anxiety, you know, it was a kind of pain where you have to do something about it. You have to study. You have to know. This is why I have studied so much about physical therapy and health and fitness. Like, it's not because I'm a health freak. Like, I grew up a normal person. I wasn't a health freak. I liked to exercise a lot. I was an active person. I quite liked healthy food, but I ate very unhealthy food as well, you know? And I wasn't really such a muscle, like, gym freak, you know? I was quite lazy. Like, I would go running. I would try and just go, all right, I'm going to do, like, loads more, you know, when my curve was getting bad. Like, I did a bit more when I was younger, but my body became a bit floppy and a bit lazier when I was a teenager, so I was not a health freak. So yeah, like, the pain drove me, and since the rods have come out, it's like I've just been set free, like, and I'm still in a lot of pain because I'm still healing, and I still have 5 fused vertebrae, so, but I can feel my body again. Like, honestly, I was numb. Like, my body was like not wanting to proprioceptive. It had 2 solid, huge metal rods in. But now my body, I can proprioceptive and feel my whole spine. Like, it's a totally different ball game to having the rods in. But there are still many restrictions that I am going to have to face in my life. You know, a lot of damage is already done. Like, there's scars that are maybe never going to regenerate enough from the surgery, and there's a lot of degenerative, you know, disc and issues. There's damage done, which, you know, I'm gonna take a lot of different plant medicines. I'm gonna keep going, you know, and regenerate what I can, but I've got to be realistic here. Damage is done, and movement is restricted. I don't really know how much movement I've got now in my bones. So although the numbness is gone and I can actually feel the whole spine, I have started to attempt to work on my spine, because I was only fused at the top. So, you know, I've started to try and work on trying to like to stop the bottom, to stop it getting worse again. You know, I thought, right, let's slowly work on seeing what corrections I can get to the curve. And I am getting small corrections. I'm able to do things that I would never have gone near doing when I had the rods in. I can do a lot now. But I still feel like there's a restriction where it's fused, where I might not be able to get as much correction of my curve as I could have done if I hadn't had the surgery. I know that sounds crazy because most people are getting more correction from surgery than the natural methods. But some people with natural therapies and physical therapies and all the other things are getting amazing results. So, I mean, I could have been the minority that if I hadn't been forced to have surgery and told I was going to die if I didn't have it, I could have been one of those ones who got amazing results from the other things. You know, we don't know. We're all different. We all have different cores to the spine. So you can't categorize us all and say surgery is right for all of us and bracing is right for all of us. And because it's not. Just like Schroff physical therapy is not the right exercise program for all of us, or PRI is not the right program, you know, or any of these things. Like some people hate Pilates. Some people are more drawn to yoga, but then other people are like, with yoga, I'm like hypermobile. Yoga's just making me worse, you know. So look, at the end of the day, you've got to find exactly what's right for you. And I am just so sad that the health system categorizes people like this. And they are starting to see the body as more holistic now. I am seeing more research papers where they're including more range of treatments. You know, they're including supplements and nutrition and counselling. They're seeing more of the bigger picture. So that's a positive step, because I refused. I would love to go into research, you know, but I refuse to do that when I don't agree with what research, you know. A lot of money is spent on research, and if you don't really agree with what is being studied, you don't think it's going to get results. I mean, I wouldn't want to waste my time on that. But yeah, I mean, it's great to see this positive step. But you know, obviously it's hard to subcategorize people, like, because there are, you know, there's one group of people that the Pilates methods really work for, one that the Schroff, you know, you would have to try and attempt to subcategorize people into different programs of what you think would suit them the most, and that's going to be tough. But I do think someone has to try and do the work and has to try and do this, and I would think about going into research, but obviously that's a lot of time studying, you know, and a lot of time out of work, and it's going to cost a lot of money to do the course. So yeah, I have to really feel like, you know, I'm in a situation where it's really what I want to do, and I'm prepared to sacrifice everything to go into this, because when I done my physiotherapy degree and worked for the health system, it wasn't a system that I thought was helping people enough. Like, it was saving lives, and I loved going to work every day. I did love working in the hospitals, but as a physical therapist, it wasn't what I thought I was signing up to learn, sadly. Like, I was just doing the job a nurse could have done, I felt like, or even like a strong person with good, like, a lot of common sense could have gone and supported someone to walk, you know, up some stairs, you know. It just felt like there's no speciality in what I'm doing, like. So yeah, so I'm just happy, like, I'm hoping research is going more in the right direction now, with that we know about soft tissue, we know about how everything is holistic and connected together. And with all the genetic research going on, maybe we can start to subcategorize groups and pick the right treatments for them within the condition they have. Just because we've all got scoliosis, we're not all the same at all. And just like the Erin Myers book I read recently, like the functional medicine testing, a lot of people with scoliosis, for some reason, are attracting a lot of toxins in their system. But each person is having different toxins, and they're having different genetic mutations. So they're not all going to get results from the same you know, internal medicines and the same exercises, are they? Like, it's kind of becoming quite obvious with how much information is being shared over the internet now. To me, if I was in charge of research or direction, I would be taking it. But I'm not there. I am qualified therapist, and all I'm doing at the moment is training my health to get back on track again, so that I can go back to hopefully teaching exercise classes to people to help people with scoliosis or with any sort of postural imbalance or health problem, you know. Like, I just want to get back to working as a physiotherapist and a dance instructor and the things that I feel passionate about. So yeah, that's my goal at the moment, and even I would love to get back to doing my massage, my myofascial massage as well, but that just all depends on how much, you know, mobility I can get and how much strength I can get, because massage can be adapted so that you don't have to hurt your back as much. You can get, you know, the person more involved with the massage. You can combine, obviously, like the thing I do most is combine the exercises and movements with just hands-on guidance and some releases on people, because my biggest aim is to teach people how to help themselves back at home, to not have to keep going back to seeing a therapist. So yeah, so my story was a long story as to why I had to have the rods out, and some people, you know, some people are fine. They don't have to have a surgical revision. They don't have to have the rods out. From studies I've read, but this doesn't mean that the studies have studied everyone, because I was not asked to be in a study. They didn't study my case. These studies are just done on like a select group, you know, and they, you know, sometimes they're a group that is biased towards what the person doing the study kind of wants the outcome to say. So I mean, I've read a study where it says, oh, like 75% of people are, you know, are in very little or no pain after they've had surgery 10 years down the line. But that is not what I'm hearing on social media. Like, I'm hearing some success stories. Yeah, I'm hearing some people who are very happy they had the surgery and maybe it was right for them. You know, I'm hearing a lot of people that are pro-surgery, but I'm hearing so many people having so much pain after surgery. Like, so many. And for this study to say that 75% of everyone who's had surgery 10 years down the line is not having pain, to me is a false study. I would throw it out the window, because you've had fused rods in for 10 years. If you're not in pain, you're not a human being. You're not a human being. This study is wrong. Like, I'm sorry, but this is a biased sample of people maybe who had really severe scoliosis, or really maybe people who really did need the surgery more. And maybe they were in loads of pain before they had the surgery, so it didn't feel like they were in much pain. But they probably were in pain still, because having the rods in causes pain. It literally does. You know, even having a fusion of bones causes pain, because you're limiting mobility in other areas. Like, but anyway, look, I'm not going to keep going on about this, but I learned that it's very common, like maybe even 50% of people, like I've read in one study, who've had the surgery have to have a surgical revision or have the rods out. They have to have more than one surgery. So I was not told this when they were putting the rods in. It just told me it's for life. It's going to save your life. La, 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 la. That's all they told me. So, you know, with the internet, we can learn a lot from each other. And yeah, I don't want anyone to think that I'm anti-surgery, because that's not the case. Like, there are clearly cases where people do need surgery, but you know, I just want to open people's eyes to other methods, to other perspectives that might be less damaging in the long term, especially because you can't get quick results trying to correct a scoliosis. And it's not an easy journey, because there are many different factors involved. Like, you might have toxins like mercury poisoning or radiation, or you might have things that have got in your system because it's already out of balance that are making it like impossible for exercise, or you know, until you eat the right thing. Like, this is why I like medicinal mushrooms, because they can clear away a lot of pollution that's in the environment. They can like eat it out of the body. But like, yeah, it's not easy, and it's not easy to even find the right exercise for you. Like, you might try every program out there and none of them work for you, but that doesn't mean that there isn't an exercise that will work. Because I have had to discover my own exercises that I've never seen anyone teach on a course. Or not that, of course, I have never been to every course that's in the world. Of course I haven't, but I'm just saying that you know your own body better than anyone else, and don't give up trying. Don't give up. I know it's a hard choice to just leave it and see, you know, to leave a curve. I understand why people want to have the surgery, but I'm just saying, if I had a choice to turn back the hands of time, and I was told honestly the truth about the long-term effects of what surgery could cause, and I was told that there are other options to try, I would have tried all the other options first. I wouldn't have wanted the surgery. So, and I've heard lots of people say the same. So, yeah, not anti-surgery, not anti-medicine. There are amazing medicines out there. I just know that no one knows the cause of my scoliosis, and I have the best connection and intuition to what's caused it myself. And I probably am going to have to figure this out myself, but I'm not alone. There's so many other people out there doing amazing videos on scoliosis, and there are so many other people. They might not have exactly the same causes as us, but they have some things that are the same. So you can learn, take a little bit from each person and learn and apply it to yourself. You can trial and error. Just try it out. Like, as long as you're not trying anything that's going to damage or harm you, like, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So, yeah, just don't give up. And I had a clear cause why my rods had to come out, and it was building for many, many years, the pain and the stiffness and the stagnation. And I had other injuries that destabilised the structure of my rods. So, yeah, and there was even something else that happened I don't really want to talk about on here that destabilised things as well, like some other abuse that happened to me. So, that, you know, there's a cause for everything. And if you've had the surgery, you don't have to end up like me. You don't have to injure other joints. You don't have to get abused. You don't have to, you don't have to overdo things. You don't have to eat, you can find the right things to eat. You can find the right exercises to hold and stabilise your curve. Because I didn't do that for years because I didn't know what they were, because no one was sharing stuff online, and I wasn't taught it on my physio course. Or, sometimes you just have to find the right thing for you. But yeah, it doesn't have to end up a horror story if you have the surgery. But I think part of me, deep down, didn't ever want the surgery, and I was happy my body rejected the rods in a way, because I didn't feel like myself psychologically and emotionally straight after they were put in. Although I had a success story, I wasn't in pain for 6 years, I'd become a professional dancer, something didn't feel right emotionally inside, psychologically. Something wasn't connecting the same with my emotions and my nervous system. And because all they're doing is altering the bones. I mean, they are altering soft tissues inside. They're like pulling a lot. They're changing a lot of tissues. But only where they do the surgery, and break the ribs, or that's what I had. Where I had tension in my shoulder, where my nerves are overstretched in my neck, where my nerves are overstretched in my lumbar spine and my hips, where the parts of my body they didn't touch with the surgery still have scoliosis. That is still where I am. So for psychologically, if someone is like this and then you alter part of them, but you leave other bits of soft tissue are still stuck that they haven't cured with the surgery, is it any wonder that I still had a little curve? They tried the surgery, they couldn't correct it fully. There was still curve there because it was still being pulled by my neck, by my hip, by other areas. So the surgery doesn't necessarily fully cure or correct the scoliosis. Maybe in some people are getting a lot straighter spines than others with surgery. Yeah, so I mean, this is where you have to say, oh, the cause is different in each person. But for me, I mean, I was still left with I still had a 20-degree curve in my thoracic spine after the surgery. So for me, something was already pulling around still, even though they did all this, broke all this and put this in. So I was just, I didn't feel like myself fully after having it. I felt confused. I felt like all my movement was, I just wasn't free anymore. And even though being free to pull and rotate around sounds like not a good thing, I actually missed having that freedom to even have a curve, like, because I was so restricted in my movement. And I was a professional dancer. I love to move. So yeah, everyone's different, and I just hope I can now progress in my life and move forward, and I can use all the studying and qualifications that I've got to actually, you know, really improve my health and my muscle tone, and to, you know, to maybe, if possible, help other people or teach other people things. That's my ambition. Because yeah, I just can't see so many people, you know, suffering when there's things that they can do. Basically, I feel like I have to share that. Okay, so I think, oh my god, I've waffled on for so long. But yeah, if you've made it to the end with me, through all my rants and stuff, yeah, just hopefully you get a better understanding of what happened to me, and just to know that it doesn't have to happen to you. Okay, thank you. Peace out.